Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Rick Sammon, photographer, author, teacher, musician, all around good guy. Thanks for being back with us, Rick.
Well, you're a great guy too, and thank you so much. I had so much fun hanging out with you at Out of Oregon, for that photo conference there. I know you got some great shots. I know you love photography, so I always love speaking with you.
Thanks, Rick, and it was great fun. Uh, you've spent years traveling, not just to Oregon, but all over the world, taking photographs, teaching others, writing books, sometimes as a result. And what has this time been like for you? I'm sure having to postpone many of those plans that you have for this year, at least so far, has got to be difficult.
Well, it's definitely difficult. Thank God I have married to the most positive person on the planet, who tells me not to watch the news. So it's been, we go for a lot of walks. I play a lot more guitar. I think a lot of people like myself, they're going through their old pictures and reprocessing their photographs and coming up, even if it's just a simple crop, they're coming up with new and different ideas. And I think there's a lot of ways we can stay motivated and stay inspired. And one way to do that is, simply by going on some of these social media sites like Instagram and seeing some unbelievable pictures that are way better than the pictures that I've ever taken or professionals have taken by amateurs who just happen to be in the right place at the right time and have the skill to make good pictures. So I think social media is a good thing right now.
In some ways, you've always had to deal with the unpredictable. You tell people this. You told us in Oregon. You tell people all the time that when you go out on a photography adventure of some sort, weather conditions, for instance,
Right.
are totally unpredictable. You have to learn to roll with the punches, and sometimes really make the best of it, and you can get a surprising result.
Absolutely. There's an expression. There's no such thing as a bad day for weather. There's a bad day for weather, bad day for photography, right? So, on an overcast day, you might get the most striking picture. But, I know a lot of listeners, want are home. They say, oh, I had plans to go to a national park or whatever. How can I get better at photography? Well, I have two suggestions if I could share them.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sure a lot of your listeners have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning. And as soon as they pour it, there's steam coming out of it, right? So if you place that cup of coffee by a window so it's backlit, that steam's going to look way different than if you turn completely around and photograph the steam frontlit. And if you photograph it sidelit, that steam's going to look different. If you put have your wife or husband or son or daughter or a friend, whatever that you're living with, hold a black T-shirt behind it, that steam's going to look different than if you hold like a green T-shirt behind it or a white T-shirt behind it. So you're going to learn something about light by doing this, and learn something about the direction of light and how light affects the subject. So you might actually get an award-winning picture. And if your listeners go on Google and type in steam rising from a cup, you're going to find some amazing pictures. But you can use what you learn there. So when all this is over, say you go to see Old Faithful, which steams all the time, but erupts, every whatever it is. I don't know, 22 minutes, whatever, I forget. But anyway, by moving around, you're going to get a different, and by watching the background and the direction of light, you're going to see how that steam looks so different. And same thing if you go to a waterfall where there's mist around. So basically, it's always true. What you learn in one area of photography, you could apply to another. Another idea is to sit someone by like a living room lamp that's maybe about 4 feet off the floor, whatever, next to your couch or something. So you sit that person there in the dark, or when the lamp is the most prominent light in the scene. So like the late afternoon or the very early morning, if you can't sleep because of all the stuff, you get up early. And anyway, have that person look directly at you, and then move around that person in a 180-degree arc, but have them look one way. So by moving, you're going to see, even by a few inches, how the shadow changes, especially on the side of the nose. And then, so by moving around in an arc, you'll see how the light changes. Then have the person, you stay in one place, and have the person move their head from all the way from left to right. So then you practice it, and you might get a good picture. And favorite picture I've ever taken in my whole life, out of millions of pictures, is the favorite I took of my father shortly before he died, looking out the window. And I moved around, and I got the what I thought was a perfect light.
I
So
remember
anyway,
that picture. Yeah.
yeah, he was on a walker, and thank you very much. But then say you go on, and this is over again, you go on Route 66 and you meet a character in one of these old diners or something. Hey, I learned something. So it's really important to, keep learning and keep experimenting. And you could look at this like, oh, I'm stuck at home. I can't do anything. Or you could look at this, I'm home with my family. This is like a gift, and it's an amazing time to grow and to appreciate what we had and still what we have.
And taking portraits of each other, I guess, could be a fun thing because we don't often stop and take the time to do that.
Well, I think it can be a fun thing in addition to being the learning thing, and like with the picture of my father, that these pictures might become more precious than your pictures of like a rider in Mongolia or a Buddhist monk in Myanmar or wherever. So I think it's really important to keep that going.
What do you think about the idea of putting cameras, whether it's your phone camera or a good camera, into the hands of a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old at a time like this, and let them shoot?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Just put it on program and put it on all the focus points so the camera finds the focus easily. And now, especially with the cameras, even if it's an iPhone, right? An iPhone might be easier because there's a big screen, and all the digital SLRs and the mirrorless have the screen on the back.
And
So I think that
your wife Susan's great at using that iPhone
oh
with
my,
amazing
well,
results.
you saw that in Oregon,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So yeah, so that could be a fun thing, and it gives them something to do rather than just playing a video game. And then whether you're using Photoshop, Lightroom, or some of these free processing programs, if it's a 2-year-old, there are programs there are plugins like Luminar, I think, has one that turns a picture into a cartoon. So the kid might like that, or a Topaz impression can turn it into a painting.
Very nice.
So
And this is springtime too, and if folks are lucky enough to have a backyard, things are really coming to life. Whether it's the plants or the birds showing up, it can be a remarkable time to be outside and take the camera.
well, you bring up a good point, and I was just telling someone this. So I go to Alaska to photograph bald eagles, right? And I go to Bosque del Apache in New Mexico to photograph in one morning thousands of sandhill cranes and snow geese. And on the Oregon coast, we were photographing the gulls, right? So I live in Croton-on-Hudson, New York. We live on a pond. Hope you come up sometime. I know we've been trying to coordinate this. And we have mallards, and you know how colorful they are. And we have swans, and we have Canada geese. And in 35 years of living here, I never took a picture of them. So recently, I went out and I took pictures of these swans, waiting for beautiful, graceful positions. I have a picture of one of the Canada geese flying directly at me. It's amazing that I was able to get this shot. And the swans are beautiful. So, and the mallard is just so colorful. So I was really surprised at how much fun I had photographing that is a common subject, but I think there's so much we can do around the house that we've never seen before.
And a lot of us have more time.
Yeah.
And you need that sometimes. You need the patience, so that can be a learning experience too.
Yeah, learning. Well, yeah, we have to. I know a lot of people who are on quote a short fuse, including myself at some time. So, yeah, learning how to be patient and take a deep breath is good.
Another thing that they can do is take the time to read some of your books, including the latest, Phototherapy.
Well, Phototherapy, Motivation, and Wisdom, and thanks for mentioning it. It's my 40th book. It's 35,000 words, and it has no pictures in it. And uh, I just got the statement for three of my other recent books with pictures in them, and this book is outselling all my other books. It's amazing. I think for whatever reason, the timing was perfect. It came out in September 2019, and yesterday it was number one on Amazon in three different categories. And today, this is the great thing about Amazon. You can check. It's number three, two, and four in three different categories. Number two, an individual photographer essay. So I'm just reading this stuff to show you that I think to illustrate that people are looking to be motivated and to get motivated and to stay inspired. And I don't think out of 40 books, people don't need me to write another book about how to get a picture of a tiger in India. There's a million there's a million books on that.
One of the things that you're doing here, Rick, and I'm sure so many of your acquaintances and colleagues appreciate it, is that you bring their experiences into your work to help teach people too. So it's a really beautiful thing.
Well, thank you. I like to share, and I think I'm 70 this year, and I think the older you get, the more you want to share. And when you're young, you want to make your mark on the world, and you want to tell everyone you're great and things like that. I think as you get older, sharing what what are you going to leave behind, which I've been thinking about in these coronavirus times. So I'm really trying hard to, I'd rather have people, if I'm not around, saying, if they say he's a great photographer, that's okay. But if they say, he really inspired me, really helped me, that would mean a lot more.
I don't know how many times you have pushed the shutter button on a camera, but do you still find it enjoyable, therapeutic to go out and shoot some more?
Yeah, I challenge myself. There's a place in Goshen, New York. Are you far from Goshen?
I'm down in New Jersey, but
but you know about where Goshen is.
Sure.
It's about actually it's only 27 minutes from here. They have a birds of prey place there, and I wanted to get a picture of an owl flying directly toward me, which is not the easiest thing to do because they take off, unexpectedly, and they go pretty fast. Believe it or not, their wings are flapping, and there's all the background you got to think about and the focus tracking. And I got one of my all-time favorite wildlife pictures. I set the goal, which I think is important in life, to set goals, but in your photography. And I got some amazing, I didn't get some, I got one amazing picture of an owl flying directly toward me. And it was really cool. But I applied the same technique as the Canada geese in my backyard, flying directly toward me too. Setting the camera on focus tracking, watching the background, high frame rate, exposing for the highlights, all that stuff. So I do find it, even when I'm using the iPhone, I find it still really, really fun to do it. I think this is why I call this book phototherapy. Because I think photography can be very therapeutic. And I got the idea, we've been talking about my bird photography. I got the idea from Twitter. I was on Twitter and I see someone wrote a book called Bird Therapy and how therapeutic, and I'm sure you've heard of this too, like in old folks' homes, they have aquariums, to calm people. The people like, nursing homes, they like watching the fishes.
Sure.
So when I saw bird therapy, in a second, I got the idea for phototherapy. I got to work, and 3 months later, I had the book.
Wonderful. And as you point out, in just about everything I read that has pictures, at least, it's all in the eyes, well-lit eyes, and making sure it's sharp.
Yes, if the eyes aren't well-lit and in focus, you've missed the shot. And by the way, I have a Facebook group. It's free. It's just called the Phototherapy Facebook group, so people could find that And what's great about it, there's no ads. People are just posting pretty pictures that make them feel good, or they want. I saw a picture today, just a beautiful beach scene, and there's a very calm scene, and the person said, "Be calm." And I think the timing was right for the book and the Facebook page, because it's really, I think it's just helping people. I think and I include myself in that, Fred. We need all the help we can get right now. It's insane.
We sure do. And sharing photos and thoughts is what we all need right now. Where is the best place for folks to go to follow you, Rick? And I know you also teach a lot with the Kelby One.
Yeah. I have 18 class. 18. Well, that's really surging. Online training. Everyone, workshops are dead right now. All workshops. All my friends who had workshops scheduled to cancel because no one wants to get on a plane or sit in a room with 12 people on their laptops playing with Photoshop and Lightroom. So I would say ricksammon.com is good, but the phototherapy I'm really enjoying. Every day when I wake up, I go on the phototherapy Facebook page and see what people are doing.
Terrific. I'm going to post a couple of shots there too soon, hopefully.
Oh, please.
We'll go through it.
I think you remember, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we approved you.
Wouldn't miss it. So,
good.
ricksammon.com for more, or search for phototherapy on Facebook. And Rick, thank you so much for taking the time with us. And please, you and your family, stay healthy and safe.
Oh, same to you, my friend, and thanks again.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C. Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. Listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C. Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C. Crane.